Hey, 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 good morning to you. What's happening? It's Monday, the day before. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Hold on for a moment. We're going to, it's the day before voting in Georgia. And so that's important for y'all to get out to vote. And I want to make sure that that was the first thing I talk about. We have several important issues coming up. That and the voting, please make sure you get out and vote. It is extremely important that we have individuals in office, in positions that know what the hell they're doing and not being used by a puppet or, let's use the word puppet. But anyway, we're going to also discuss, most importantly, the situation between Coach Sanders, JSU, and Colorado. Now, I'm not athletically knowledgeable, so I had to call on somebody who's well more versed and informed than I am, because I don't know anything. I know that the SWAC has commissioners. I know that the SEC has commissioners. I don't know the responsibilities. So I had to call on my godson to give me some insight. So I appreciate him calling in. This is Eric. Eric, please forgive me. And don't laugh.
No, I get it, man.
What is, okay, I know that you have different conferences, and in those conferences you have commissioners. And so am I incorrect to say that commissioners are basically the leaders? They set the guidelines, they oppose punishments and all that. Is that the responsibility of the commissioners?
No, not really. The commissioners, they are more so just in charge of making sure that the conference itself is getting the right exposure, and that it's creating revenue, and that it's competitive enough to be considered, a top conference in whatever sport is being played at the moment. And so, like, for the SEC, I think the commissioner is Greg Sankey or something like that. But he, basically, they negotiate, like, TV time and deals like that. And they deal with the NCAA more so than, the schools or stuff like that. I think what you are kind of getting at is the athletic directors. They're more so in charge of, like, hiring coaches and making sure, the school is, or the programs at the schools are, up to par.
So, okay, I saw, on TikTok, you see all this information. And let me back up for a moment. First of all, for that individual that had the audacity to squash the SWAC and talk about Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Tuskegee, and all that, first of all, I'm an alumni of Alabama State University. I went there my entire time. I had my bachelor's and my master's. I stayed on campus 2 years. So for this individual to call us a roach college, I was really offended by that. And for you to make fun of the SWAC, I really have a problem with that. And so I want to set the record straight. The HBCUs have their own composition. They have their own character. They have their own environment. It's totally different from, if you go from Alabama State to Alabama A&M, you're going to see two different types of attitudes, two different types of opinions, and so forth. If you went from Alabama State University to any other HBCU, we are a legacy in our own time. So for this individual to make that derogatory statement and said that you were offered in a scholarship, but did the white folks offer you a scholarship? That's the question. Did the white folks offer you a scholarship? So for you, if you've never been on an HBCU's campus, for you to have the audacity to call us roach colleges, I find you somewhere and whip your ass. So let me go back to so the SWAC. So is it correct then that when Coach Sanders requested assistance from the boosters, from the coach, from the administration, from SAC to help him gain the financial stability when it came to his program. So it was SWAC's responsibility to make sure that the revenue was there for all HBCUs. Did I interpret that correct?
Yeah, I mean, like the commissioner is supposed to make sure that there's money coming in and that the money is being distributed evenly amongst the teams. Now, sometimes it might not be distributed evenly if you got a team like JSU who's attracting all of the revenue and it's gaining the exposure that is now on the SWAC.
Right.
So, it's kind of a difficult, like.
But see, I can see that because I can see that because when I first arrived over at Huffman's Boosters Club was the best boosters out of all the high schools. It had got to the point to where the other high schools were jealous of Huffman because of the boosters, because of the parents, because of the support. And because of that jealousy that the other high schools had, then all of a sudden the board comes up and was saying that, well, we're going to put all this money into one pool and then we're going to divvy it out. And I know that the boosters over at Huffman was highly upset, and rightfully so. We cannot help that Ramsey doesn't have the boosters that Huffman has. We cannot help that Winona does not have the support or the boosters like Huffman. So I can understand that since Coach Sanders was bringing the focus, was bringing recognition to a program, I can understand that because he brought what was never there before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can understand why you would give JSU more than any other college.
Well, I mean, it's more so of an issue where the money that is generated from the TV deals and stuff like that, and like it's a collective thing.
Okay.
So I believe, this is what I believe. I don't know what laws or what regulations they have within the SWAC, but if you are the coach of a program and you influence the boosters to donate and secure money to a point to where it's an astronomical amount, then you should be able to keep that money that your boosters generated.
Right.
And the money that's generated from the TV deals and all of the other stuff, the ticket sales, like most professional leagues, like that's how they do it. Like for every NFL or NBA team, after every game, they have to give the league itself a receipt of all the ticket sales. And so after every game, they tally that up, and at the end of the year, they tally that whole total amount up, and the next year, that is split amongst all the teams in that league. So it's the same concept with a conference, but you have boosters. So the boosters are usually alumni and fans, and they donate directly to the program, and I don't think that money should be given to another school.
Correct.
So, I mean, the issue with Dion is more so people are upset because I think he set an expectation and things change, you know. So since things have changed, people are still kind of they're holding on to the expectation he set, and so that's why they're mad. But I mean, he came in, he changed the whole program around and the conference. Just HBCU football, quite frankly, period. I mean, they're on TV now,
right?
And they're a conversation, and they have a combine specifically for HBCU athletes that wasn't even talked about before Dion. So we gotta weigh all the pros and cons and try not to get in our feelings too much about it, because he did put them in a better situation than they were in. So,
and see, he has a controversy from what I understand now, because his other son doesn't want to leave JSU. He wants to stay there. So he has a problem.
I think people they don't realize that Deion is a brand.
Thank you.
Like, he has so many connections to the NFL that it doesn't matter. His son could go home right now and not play another down. Deion could call anybody and get his son a workout. That's not an issue. So, I mean, whatever's going on between their family dynamic, that's one thing. But I don't think him leaving and going to another school is going to affect his kids or even the kids at that program, because the exposure has been created. So there's eyes on that program. Then what Deion did was he brought a lot of NFL coaches and just resources from, you know, that type of industry, like, into the program. So I don't think he's leaving the program just high and dry.
No.
He set up a structure that should be able to be carried on by the next coach.
But are the coaches going to do that, though?
Huh?
But are the coaches going to do that? Because, see, I think that the coaches over at HBCUs have become complacent. They're happy with the little bit that they have. And now you have a brand who comes in, who's shaken up the system, which should have been shook up a long time ago, because you have coaches at HBCUs that are just as qualified as coaches in the SEC, but they don't have the financial support. Well, just look at State. State had, well, as much as I hate to do this, but State's coach is from the SWAC, but he played in professional NFL, correct?
Yeah.
So he has the same opportunities in venues and connection that Coach Sanders has, but has he unified that or utilized that to the point that Sanders had? And like you mentioned, he's a brand. When you see him, you know excellence. You expect certain things from him because he has set that example, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of coaches who play pro ball who are coaches. That don't mean that they're gonna be good coaches.
Oh, good point.
So, like, you got Eddie George. He took a job, I think, at Tennessee State right when Deion took the job at Jackson State. Just because you got somebody who came from the pros, that don't mean that they're gonna be able to coach. And with coaching, especially in college, it's more to just coaching. The biggest thing in college is recruiting.
Okay.
So if you can't get players to come there, then it don't matter, because you're not going to be able to compete with the schools that do have the players.
Okay.
So what Deion, what you get when you get a Deion is you get like almost like an instant recruits just want to come there because they want to be associated with the program. They know Deion is gonna have, you know, eyes on the program. He's gonna get the resources to get these guys at least a look for the next level. So, like, before this "you ain't swag" thing, nobody really even knew who Alabama State coach was, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
So when you take that into account, he's really not qualified for a job like that yet. Because if he was, then we would have known more about him. He probably wouldn't have reacted to the situation that happened between him and Deion the way he did.
And especially when he went to TikTok, and I called him a little bitch asshole, yeah. Because, see, I think that's just so beneath you. Correct me if I'm wrong, you have the reputation of the school. You are a head coach, and you get your ass on TikTok.
Right.
And you doing this little bitch ass shit.
Mm-hmm.
It only shows how much jealousy you have towards Coach Sanders.
Right. That's exactly what that was. And I think as black people, we got to realize that, you know, the way that we've been conditioned to handle conflicts outside of business environments is kind of detrimental to us, because now, like, you see that we carry that mentality over into our jobs.
Right.
Like, that was never supposed to go there. He's supposed to just be professional, take the loss, however he felt. He could have called Dion or, but that just, the way he handled it, it was just so unprofessional. And you cannot expect a D1 Power 5 predominantly white institution to want to hire you.
Right.
You cannot expect it, because they're not about to take a chance for their reputation to be damaged by you being in your feelings and acting like, quite frankly, a little boy, So,
right.
And that played right into Dion's hands,
Yes,
because
sir.
he's a master marketer. So that just, like, you can't do that. Like, you cannot give, like, you can't give your enemy ammunition. Like,
That's right.
So I mean, yeah, but.
See, I never thought about it, but it's true. Just because you played a sport does not mean that you're going to be a good coach, nor does it mean that you're going to be a good announcer. That just means that you were just good at what you were doing, which is playing on the field.
Right. I mean, like, everybody who has played a sport and has played it extensively to the level of getting to the pros, even if you play one day on a pro practice squad, I believe that, like, you are one of the best football players or basketball players or whatever the case may be to have ever played in the world. Like,
right.
Because I would say 98%, 99% of the population that has ever walked the face of the earth has not ever been to a professional league. So these guys are still elite, right, and they know the game, but that does not mean that you can teach the game or you can, make the right decisions when the time is needed in a game situation.
Right.
It's all about IQ and also putting the right people in the right position to be successful. That's why Nick Saban is, so good at what he does, is because it's a total body of work that he puts together in order to make his program what it is.
Because he's sort of like a brand too, correct?
He's definitely a brand, but it's beyond the brand. It's a mentality and it's a philosophy with him.
Okay.
So when you have something like that, the difference between a philosophy and a brand is just associated to one person or one thing, but a philosophy can be passed down to other people, and they can piggyback off of that and kind of like make their own variations to what foundation you have set, which is what a lot of the coaches under him have done.
Right. Because he's played against some of his coaches, right? He's played against some of his coaches, correct?
Yeah, he beat most of them.
Yeah.
But a couple of them that, like Kirby, I think is going to be one that he just, they don't face each other unless it's a championship game, because they on different sides of the conference. But yeah, most of the time his former coaches, they can't beat him, but they employ his philosophy,
right,
or at least a part of it, and you can see that within their programs.
So when it comes down to it, if the boosters, if the alumni, if the supporters of an HBCU will gather their forces together, gather their revenue together, then the HBCUs could possibly have the same type of venue that the white schools have.
Yeah, I mean, because we were sitting around here waiting on the NCAA or whatever to give us money to put us on the same pedestal as an Alabama, but it's just like a church. If you go to the church and you submit your tithes, the church going to grow, especially with the congregation. If everybody's paying their tithes, the church going to have more money to build and to provide resources to the congregation. It's the same thing,
right,
at a school. So if you got alumni and boosters who's pouring money into the school, like with Jackson State, Dion did a lot of stuff. He got an equipment van, and it wasn't a van; it was like a whole 18-wheeler. He got a new locker room, but he didn't wait on nobody to create that funding. He went out and generated that funding on his own, and he put it into the program. So while we over here waiting on or blaming Dion for leaving, we got so much power.
Right.
I guarantee you the top 10 percentile of every graduating class at a HBCU has at least 4 or 5 people in those graduating classes who are thousandaires or millionaires.
Yes,
and they have resources to pull together to bring this type of exposure and this type of revenue that Dion has created at Jackson State to other schools.
Right.
It's possible, but we don't understand that, and we don't mobilize ourselves to do that for ourselves before we ask somebody else. And I think that's a big issue. Like, Dion did all of that. He did that. So if we want to see that duplicated, then we got to put our money where our mouth is, just
right.
like Dion did.
And he did that in the first year, correct? He brought most of the changes his first year.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what Dion did was he got there, he realized that it was a lot of stuff that his program needed, and he just put a public service announcement out like, hey, this is what I need, and this is the help I need. And he called certain people who he knew would help him, and they actually were powerful people. And so you have to, use whatever leverage you have in order to create the opportunities that you want to create.
So the blueprint that he left can be utilized straight through if the coaches, the boosters, the athletic department would get off their asses and implement that blueprint or the blue book, the guidelines that he set up.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that would be more so an issue for other schools. Because I would like to believe, I hear a lot of times that, coaches give each other advice. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing illegal about that. And so Jackson State is not any type of conflict of interest for Dion. So he can still be an advisor or a consultant for them, and they can still utilize his resources. So you very well might see Dion on a board or something like that at Jackson State later on down the line or something. He's not. I don't think he's just gonna leave the program high and dry.
No, he stated that he wasn't going to leave the program. He wasn't going to leave because there was people saying that he stopped being black because he went to Colorado, and he was asking, how can I stop being black? I can't stop being me.
I read a post today that said, no matter what you do, it's going to always be somebody that finds something wrong with it. So just do what you do.
That's it.
And it's like, this is a twofold issue because, like I said, Dion set an expectation that he was doing this for HBCUs. And I actually thought that I interpreted what he was saying was, he was going to be at Jackson State for a long time. He wasn't interested in a big job. That's what I got from it. Obviously, I didn't understand what he was saying, or, Colorado presented such a good situation for him that maybe it was advantageous for him to leave. But he did not engage in no type of behavior that would have caused them to be sanctioned, or he didn't steal any money. He ain't have no scandal with one of the cheerleaders or one of his assistants. He came there, he won football games, he brought exposure to the program, he generated money, he recruited the #1 player in the nation.
See, exactly.
And then he played him on both sides of the ball, and he more than likely is going to see, I think a lot of people are mad because they saying, oh, he attracted all these recruits and now he's leaving and they just gonna be there.
They're going with them.
With the NCAA and how college football is working nowadays, kind of like more so synonymous to the pros than it has ever been because players can now transfer. So his son, the #1 recruit, and everybody else who play on that team at Jackson State, they can leave Jackson State and go play for Deion at Colorado.
The portal.
Now, it's not going to be feasible for all of them because all of them don't have scholarships, but I'm sure the guys that he recruited, and let's be honest, Colorado ain't no powerhouse. So most of the guys that played on Jackson State probably just as good or better than the guys at Colorado.
Right.
Which is why the starting QB at Colorado just entered the transfer portal. The same transfer system that I'm talking about.
Right.
He's utilizing it. So, like, I think black people, like, I was talking to somebody this morning and saying we so divisive.
Right.
We always trying to, criticize somebody for doing something and, it's just to the point of where we can't live and let live, or we can't just, not criticize somebody for doing what they want to do. Like, we all have free will, and the way I see it is he came in and he's leaving the program in better shape than it was before he came. So, I'm pretty sure if somebody came in and said, hey, we gonna pay you $2.7 million more per year than what you're getting right now. No, I'm sorry. 4.7 million more. What are you gonna do?
Thank you.
You gonna take? I would assume you're gonna take the 4.7 million over that 300,000 that you're getting every year. I would.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, hey, Deion got kids. They grown, but most of us say that we want jobs and or a lifestyle that allow us to be able to provide for our families to where they don't have to work and do stuff like that. Well, that's what he's done, and he's continuing to do it. So I don't hate the man.
No.
I support him. I hope he goes to Colorado and gets even a bigger job from there. So,
explain the portal. Because somebody's mentioned that the individuals who are suggesting the portal have never played. They don't understand exactly what the portal is, and the portal is set up for the top-notch players.
Nah, it ain't set up for. It's set up for every player.
Okay.
Whenever it's set up for a player who feels like he's locked in at a university, because what happens is you get a scholarship, and you pretty much locked in by that scholarship. So you might come in and the coach told you that you was gonna get a lot of playing time, but then this other kid comes along and he takes your spot. Now you riding the bench, but you're good enough to start somewhere else, and you feel like your time and talent is being wasted. So what the NCAA did was allow kids to transfer to another school without losing a year of eligibility. It used to be where if you played out of school, if you went to another school, you had to wait a whole year before you could play. Now they could just transfer and play right now. So it's just like how a professional league will cut or trade a player. Okay. They've kind of it's synonymous to that, to the point to where even coaches go to the transfer portal. Last year, Oklahoma had a coach and a quarterback that is now at USC. The coach left, and he brought his quarterback with him, which is the same thing that Deion can do. So,
well, see, that's one thing.
He's ranked in the top 10, huh?
Well, that's one thing that they showed on TikTok. His Sanders' first meeting with the football team, and he told him straight up that he was bringing luggage with him. And so, of course, one of his sons is coming, but he's bringing individuals with him. And he's told them straight out that, that you have the portal, you need to utilize the portal because there's going to be change coming on. So he's already been straight up with them that he's already bringing individuals with him. He's bringing a coaching staff with him. And so he's been straight up with everybody.
you got to come in the door and set the expectation and the example first, so there won't be any confusion, and you can just go ahead and really start putting the pedal to the metal. No coach is really gonna retain a staff from an ex staff.
No,
like they're gonna bring their own people in, and if he knows he's got some players that are good, it's like, why wouldn't you bring them? But we aren't there for all the back office talks. I'm pretty sure that he told those kids that, but he also told them that, if you want to stay, you're going to have to compete and may the best man win the job. Most coaches at that level are not about to play a kid just because they have favoritism.
Right.
If it's another kid that's better and he can help me win games, I'm sorry, son, but you got to wait your turn. So he may be bringing luggage with him, but that don't mean all the luggage going to travel.
Right. Now there's a question about this $5 million, because I don't know if it was commissioner, I don't know, but there was a gentleman that was interviewed. They was asking him about the money, and he was saying that Colorado doesn't have the money, but they will get the money. But if Deion has signed a contract and Colorado doesn't meet that contract, Deion can come back and sue Colorado, correct?
That'll never happen. You got to realize they got so much equity in their university alone, they can go pull a $30 million loan out from a bank. They got bankers who graduated from Colorado. They probably got relationships with banks and credit unions. And they know Deion is going to garner that attention. And like I was telling you earlier, a lot of the revenue comes from the games, the ticket sales, and the concession stand receipts. So you got to think that Deion is going to attract at least 5,000 more fans per game.
Correct.
So, if each one of those 5,000 fans spends $100, what's that? What's the math on that?
I'm so studying.
Let's see. That's 500,000, right?
Right.
That's $500,000. In 2 games, you got $1 million.
Which you've never had before.
In 4 games, you got $2 million. In 6 games, you got $3 million, and so on and so forth. So by the end of the year, they're going to have that $5 million to pay him. They know that. That's why it's like, you hear a lot of times people say, claim what you want so that it can already be yours, or you can start operating in it and you can attract it. That's what they did. They just pretty much, they claimed it. Even though they ain't got it right now, they gonna have it.
Correct.
That's just what it is. Like, they'll be able to pay them. They will be able to pay them, trust me. And then they work so many different deals out. Deion got enough money for them to defer his salary, and then he might get a contract extension to pay him more on the back end. You never know. Like,
right.
He's got an agent, and I'm sure his agent is putting all of that together. So it's gonna work out.
So in the bigger picture, if the HBCUs, if their boosters, if the alumni, if all their supporters would gather together and come together as one strong body, they could generate the revenue to improve.
Yeah, how many people you think graduated from Alabama State?
Oh man, I'd shoot. And see that has always been the talk. That has always been the conversation, because we always said that, well, we went through this with the state. We don't owe state anything. But first of all, you do owe state, because state allowed you to go there, for one, and now you have a degree that you're utilizing, making money. So yes, they may not have been the best conditions or whatever.
What kills me? Sorry to interrupt you. What kills me is, and one time we can say, "Oh, that's our school," but the next time we down talking it and we don't want to donate no money.
Right.
Pick a side. Like, you gotta pick a side. Like, we just be too contradictory with all of our statements and our beliefs. Like, if you want to rep Alabama State at the Classic every year, and you want them to beat Alabama A&M, and you want their program to be good, and you want more eyes to be on them, and NFL scouts to come look at the players and possibly draft the players, and you want your coach to get paid more or him to gain more exposure to get other jobs, you got to help. You got to do your part. Let's say y'all got 300,000 alumni from Alabama State. If everybody donated $10 a month, that'll take care of the problem right there.
That's it.
But another issue is, and honestly, there are not enough systems in place in college athletics to monitor where that revenue is allocated. Oh. So you might have a coach or somebody in the program stealing the money. So, people have drawbacks and are hesitant to donate because of that. So it's a lot of different components and complexities that goes into this stuff. And it's that's why it's such a big business.
Right.
Because it is so many different. It's a lot. It's a lot, man.
So but the guidelines and the process of the procedures are supposed to be set up by the athletic director, correct? Or SWAC?
Nah, it's more so the NCAA. The NCAA makes all the rules.
Okay.
Then the members of the NCAA are the colleges.
And that's all the colleges? That's all the colleges, blacks and whites?
Yeah, black and white.
Okay.
If you want to compete in athletics, you got to abide by the NCAA rules. The NCAA is the oldest regulatory entity that has regulated college sports for since the early 1900s. So the way it works is the NCAA is an organization. They have rules that are to be followed.
Okay.
The members who have to follow these rules are the colleges.
Okay.
And if there's any rule that has been broken by an agent or an athlete or a coach, the NCAA cannot penalize the individual. They can only penalize their members. The members are the colleges. So that's why you see back before this NIL thing, if a kid got some money while he was in school and they found out about it, the school would get sanctioned, not the kid. So then you would see the school penalize the kid because the NCAA can't penalize them, and the school feels like it should get some type of recourse from them being penalized. So you might see them take a trophy or, try to get some restitution from the athlete.
Right.
But it's all run by the NCAA. So that's as far as the rules and stuff. Now, boosters and stuff like that, I would have to look into how, they regulate that, but I would assume that if your boosters are, donating and generating revenue, then that is the program's money. That's right. Normally they have somebody in that booster club. They have a whole system of checks and balances and people who, put the money aside, spreadsheets to where the money is going to be allocated, and you see that. So that's what has to be done for the SWAC schools. You need to get an athletic director who is very involved, who sends out email blasts and tries to get the alumni and former students who went there and the current students really involved and to a point to where they want to donate, and then you use those funds to put back into the school in the athletic programs. Then you can give out more scholarships. And that goes back to, the rules, because I think every school can get a certain amount of scholarships. You can only give out a certain amount. So
I forgot about the NCAA.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So you have the NCAA. Now, does that include the private as well as public universities?
Everything. The NCAA is the umbrella, and every school that plays sports has to identify under the NCAA.
That's what I was going to ask you. That was the next question. So if you have to belong to the NCAA if you want to play sports.
I mean, it's like you wouldn't exist if, like, I mean, like, every college sport, like the athletic programs are under the NCAA. It's like every citizen in the United States is under the law of the federal government.
Constitution.
Right.
Okay.
The same thing.
So you have
like
the
the federal
NCAA.
government makes the Constitution and the laws, and you
Right.
gotta abide by it. The NCAA makes the Constitution and the laws of college sports, and all the colleges, they have to abide by it.
So you have the NCAA, then you have the conferences, and the NCAA, like you were saying, is the umbrella, and everything underneath. You have to follow the guidelines, the principles, whatever the NCAA sets forth.
Right.
Because I forgot about the NCAA. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So with Sanders going to Colorado, and with him being straight up honest, being transparent, like you were saying, we have to take the emotional part out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he came in, he changed the scenario, he changed the way things were done at Jackson. He made them more profitable than what they were initially, as well as the city. And so he left in place, if it was utilized and if it's continued, he left in place something that can be doable if they follow what he's doing, what he had left.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be able to duplicate it because you ain't prime time.
Correct.
But, you could, I mean, for Jack, I think Jackson State alone, they're going to be all right because they're going to always, I think he's indebted to that program, and they are indebted to him. I think it's a mutual relationship that they both have with each other. And I really think that you'll see Dion, like, he's going to be very involved in that program, but just like in the backdrop, you know.
A solid partner. So like a solid partner.
Yeah, exactly. I would assume that the athletic director who hired Deion Sanders, if he runs into an issue with the football team, I'm pretty sure Deion said, just give me a call.
Right.
Like, it's like, that wouldn't be an issue, because he's now at a school that will never compete with Jackson State.
Right.
So it's not a conflict of interest. I don't think there's an NCAA rule that says a coach cannot give advice to another coach,
right,
or another program, especially one that is not in the same conference. So maybe there is, though. I don't know. But I just feel like he's made a mark.
Right.
And he's left a mark there, and Jackson State, they may not be, they may not win the title again or anything like that. I think you'll start to see a shift in the competitiveness. Like, it'll probably go back to how it was, where you got Florida A&M and Grambling and Southern, who are just as competitive, and Jackson State won't just be the top dog. But yeah, just we gotta lay off Deion, because he did what nobody else could have done.
Right.
Ain't nobody in the world went to a HBCU and got the number one pick. The number one rated athlete, high school athlete, recruit to sign to them. They said he couldn't do it. He did it, and that boy started both ways. He getting touchdowns and interceptions, and he just going crazy. And now he's finna go to Colorado, which is a D1 institution, and he probably still gonna get drafted in the first round. Everybody said Deion's gonna do it, and he's doing it. So we just gotta sports is a business.
Right.
We gotta take the emotion out of it. But we humans still though, so I get it.
I'm just, it's it's just mind blowing how we get so emotional with some things. And I'm not saying that football is not pivotal. I'm not even implying that, because I lived in Alabama all my life. I understand the significance of football. When it comes to issues that will would transfer to the better way of life, we don't have that same compassion or that same energy that we should. And it's really mind blowing, like the voting in tomorrow. You have an individual, and I'm not saying anything against Herschel Walker. He was a fantastic football player. You can't, I mean, he can't.
Yeah, but being a good football player don't make you a good person.
Correct. And so, like you were saying, and I say this loosely, because you know that I'm an emotional person, but I'm learning at my age too that you have to take the emotional part out, because when you add emotion, you get cloudiness. You get the fog. You don't actually give the substance, or the substance is totally lost because it's watered down. So you have to take the emotional aspect out of it. Sanders came, he conquered, he brought a unification to Jackson. He increased the program, he bettered the program, he bettered the city of Jackson. He laid the blueprint, he created it. He's done whatever he could. He didn't get the support that he wanted for whatever reason.
Yes, he did.
Okay, explain.
Maybe not when he left, but he definitely got the support he wanted. I think most of the games, they averaged more attendance.
Right.
They had more butts in seats than a lot of these big PWI schools did.
Correct.
So he got it. That's why Colorado said they know they're gonna be able to pay him, because he's gonna fill them seats up. A lot of times you might see a team in the pros draft a player or trade for a player who they know ain't gonna be that good, but he'll fill some seats, like Tim Tebow.
Okay.
I guess last year it would have been Zach Wilson, because, I think that was his rookie year, because they thought that he was gonna be this new dual threat QB who was just gonna, be uber athletic, and he has a personality that is kind of you will gravitate towards it, but it didn't work out. He's not that good of a player, and it just that didn't work out. So you have situations where a team may try that, and it'll backfire on them. But it doesn't happen in the pros as much anymore, because they have to actually pay those players.
Okay.
But that's another component. Like getting a player or a coach or somebody in the program who has a following or a fan base will definitely attract and increase and generate revenue. So people gonna buy jerseys, they gonna buy the tickets, they're just gonna support,
Right. Yeah. So to conclude this, in your own opinion, what do you think in all, even if it's rehashing or re-saying, what is your opinion about the situation as a whole when it comes to Deion Jackson in Colorado? Because you mentioned taking the emotional aspect out of it.
Yeah, like, Well, it's kind of hard to say. I look at it from a lot of different ways, but just when you boil it all down to the sticky stuff,
right?
I have no problem with what Dion has done. He is widening his influence,
Correct.
and from what I can tell is he's trying to get to a level to where he can really get to a school that plays for a national championship on the highest level. He might even want to go to the NFL ranks. We don't know that.
Right.
I think we need to appreciate him for what he's done because he wasn't obligated to do that. How many players are the best player that have ever played at their position still trying to coach and mentor people? They out the way for real. They ain't trying to be seen by nobody and stuff like that. You know, they trying to just sit back and enjoy their money and all the fruits of the labor that they put in back in the day.
Right.
But Dion walking around pretty much with one leg, coaching these boys up, being a mentor in their life, sowing seeds to not only the kids in his program, but the black culture as a whole. So we got to do more. Like, we got to appreciate him.
Right.
Like, you know, he ain't obligated to us. He ain't obligated to Jackson State. That man can do what he want to do.
Right.
Just like we can. So, you know, I mean, it's tough on the kids at the program who might not have the ability to transfer or do, you know, whatever they need to do to stick around Dion and all the resources that he has. But, nah, man, we got to stop that. Dion did what he was supposed to do. And hopefully they'll find a new coach or he'll recommend a coach who can kind of duplicate what he's done at least to some degree.
Right.
So, I mean, I just feel like Dion, he going to end up at a bigger school than Colorado. So.
And plus, I just
they'll forget about it. In about 6 months, everybody will be used to it. In about a year, he'll be coaching on that sideline, and people gonna be talking about it, and they're gonna be forgot about him leaving Jackson State.
Right.
Just, you know.
We have a short attention span.
Yeah, like the SWAC and HBCU's problem is a much bigger problem than Dion staying or going.
Right.
We got a lot of stuff, so. And we need to be asking what we can do to attract coaches like Dion or people who can really make a change in the programs like that. But like I said, everybody ain't Prime.
Right. And I just thought about, you complaining and bitching and whining about Sanders. What about Brett Favre, or whatever the man's name is?
Brett Favre?
Yeah, he stole millions to build a damn, what is it, what do you call it, stadium for his daughter. Have you forgotten that? I mean, so...
Well, I feel like that's a whole another issue, but that's just like with the voting thing. A lot of the issues that, we might need to be mad at, I think we do get mad at them, but we realize that there's only so much that we as black people can change.
Correct.
And we kind of get fed up. Like, honestly, I'm tired of voting. The only reason I vote is because my people in the past couldn't do it. But I don't have no faith in my vote when I vote. I feel like when I vote, it's just for no damn reason because the politicians have an ulterior motive that they are going to try to achieve regardless of what situation little old me is going through.
Right.
So it's the same thing across the board with everything. The Brett Favre situation, he's a white quarterback who a lot of people love. He's got a lot of resources and a lot of power and the ability to sweep or get stuff swept under the rug.
Right.
And I'm sure most black people realize we said a lot on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and We called it out, but it's not enough being done. So we tend to just leave stuff like that alone, unless it involves like one of us getting killed, you know, unjustly by the hands of a white person or somebody who's not black. Which
Right.
that's some more stuff, So yeah, man, society's kind of crazy. We just gotta get in where we fit in and start trying to be
Man, I appreciate
controlling
you.
of everything and so emotional.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you because I didn't know who to call, so I knew that if you were available, you're the one to talk to. So I appreciate you because there's a lot of things I forgot. I forgot about the NCAA, and so I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you.
For sure. I appreciate you for having me.
Oh yes, sir. Well, you be safe out there, man. It's raining here, so
yeah, I'm chilling today, man.
Good. You take care of yourself, and I'll be talking to you later on, man.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate you.
All right.
That's my kid. I appreciate him tremendously. So, there you have it. All wrapped up. What is done is done. Can't change it. May not like it. Stage has been set. Foundation has been laid. So what are we going to do? What is SWAC going to do to improve its image? What are the boosters, the alumni, going to do? Now, before anybody out there saying that, well, what the hell are you going to do? First of all, we ain't talking about me, but yet again, we are talking about me because I am an alumni of Alabama State University. So what I'm doing now is setting into motion, getting the ducks in a row, so that way I can set up some type of endowment that I can have 2 scholar chairs brought to Alabama State. One chair would be in the College of Arts and Sciences under the name of Dr. Eunice Warren Moore. Dr. Moore was my former dean as well as my mentor. I learned a lot from Dr. Moore. And so she was the first female administrator that was hired by Dr. Levi Watkins. Dr. Watkins came to her and invited her to come to Alabama State. So Dr. Eunice Warren Moore was the first female administrator for Alabama State University. So one chair would be in the College of Arts and Sciences. The other chair will be in Dr. Percy Vaughn's College of Business. Dr. Vaughn, Uncle Percy, was the creator, was the initiator, was the originator of the School of Business. It was under his leadership and under his direction that the School of Business became the domineering force when it came to the School of Business. So those are the 2 things that I'm trying to set up now and generate enough of revenue so that way a chair can be set up in the School of Business and the School of Arts and Sciences. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to also set up an endowment so that way money will go to the School of Education, because if it wasn't for the School of Education under the wonderful professors that I had there that helped me, as well as a scholarship for the cheerleaders, because I was the first mascot of Alabama State University. So I think that it would be nice to have a scholarship for a cheerleader or for the team itself. I would like to see in the School of Business where if when you do your student teaching that you are allowed to open a school as well as close a school, because when you become a student teacher, depending on when you go in, you either know how to open the school or you know how to close the school. And then with you being a student teacher, you have to work because you're not getting paid while you're doing your student teaching. So I think that there should be some type of avenue, some type of channel that a student teacher is afforded the opportunity to know how to open a school and close a school. So I'm trying to come together and to locate those investors that can help to get the revenue to start the capital that is required. So that way, once the chairs are established, that the professor or the scholar is paid from the interest off of the capital that's in the endowment. So that's what I'm trying to do. So it is required. I owe everything to state for giving me the opportunity to be where I am. There have been numerous individuals from state that have taken me under their wings and that have tutored me, that have mentored me, that have been my supporters, that have always been there for me. So it's only right that I give back to my school. Dr. Vaughn, Doris, and Percy were always there for me, and I will forever be indebted to them. Dr. Eunice Warren Moore, Teresa Cannon, uh, uh, Thelma Rice, Bertha Underwood, Dr. Norman Walton, Alice Harris, uh, numerous individuals that I owe everything to. Dr. Johnny Witcher, Clifford Bibb. Uh, so I'm trying to get that together now. So I think that it's left up to the alumni associations, the National Alumni Association to come up with some type of fundraiser that we can generate the revenue that is needed uh, to propel the school into its righteous place that it's rightfully deserved. Uh, as well as that goes for A&M. My heart is set for A&M in Tuskegee. Uh, those were my stomping grounds. Those Alabama A&M and Tuskegee were the schools that initiated me more so into an HBCU experience. And so that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to organize everything so that way I can start laying the foundation for this endowment that I have for my school. So I'm asking for suggestions. I'm seeking and looking for investors, looking for donors, looking for individuals that can help me to achieve setting up these two chairs for Alabama State University, one in the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Eunice Warren Moore, one in the School of Business, Dr. Percy Vaughn. They need to be acknowledged. They need to be recognized. I think that it is a disgrace for a school not to acknowledge those professors who added so much, who gave so much to the institution. I think that a wall of honor should be set up so that way everyone would know exactly who those distinguished professors were or are. You should not wait till somebody passes to give them recognition. I think that it's time now to recognize them now, give them their due now. So I appreciate Eric coming on and helping to explain what was going on. Coach Sanders has set the bar high. Now it's left for the other coaches to either sit on their asses like they've always done or to continue what Coach Sanders has set up. I pray that the coach over at Alabama State gains some type of maturity, keeps off of social media and stop whining like a little bitch, It behooves you. It beneaths you. You are a disgrace to Alabama State, and I think that you should be something should be disciplined against you for you to be so immature and acting like a little bitch, whining. Uh, Plus, two, what have you done for state? What have you done to improve the conditions at state? So, uh, if anyone knows Coach Robinson, you can let them know that I said that he acted like a little bitch, acted like a little whoop puppy that was beneath him and showed how immature that he was or that he is. So I'm hoping that the next coach would be more mature, more professional, more knowledgeable on how to maintain a program, how to improve a program, how to improve the image of the program, because I think Coach Robinson has on numerous occasions, more than once, diminished the image of the athletic department. So I'm hoping that people are watching, people are observing, and people are going to act. I don't think that he should be given any more chances. I think that now is the time to start looking for another coach, because you see now exactly what type of caliber that you have. He is not coach material. He does not have the substance, nor does he have the foundation to improve the conditions, the image of the football, much less the athletic department. So it is what it is. I appreciate y'all stopping in. I appreciate you tremendously. Y'all be careful out there. It's raining here in Birmingham, so you know that we don't know how to drive, and much less drive when it's wet. So y'all be safe out there. Know your value, know your worth, know that you are the one that sets up obstacles in your way, and know that most importantly, I love you more than I love my luggage. I'll see y'all tomorrow.